What's up, everybody? And welcome to another episode of Unusual Suspects. Guys, we have a lot of crazy stories that I can't wait to get into. But just to go around, everybody, we have Umberto who put product. That is called product in his hair. He's sexy, ponytail, man bun, whatever the hell you want to call it. Shane's in the house. Rob is here. Taylor, the lovely, she's in the casa. We haven't seen Taylor for a little bit. But, yeah, so Kelly, let me just tell them the stories first, or? Let's tell the stories. Guys, the Supreme Court ruling, and it's just been a lot of craziness happening, some payback, some revenge with these decisions, 6-3 resulting. By the way, and these three, some of them have been talking crazy. What was it? Sotomayor.
We'll get into it.
Sotomayor, we're going to get into that. She's talking about some assassination shit, which is stupid. I'm going to get into the revenge part of it with Clarence Thomas, which, dude, sometimes, like, revenge is so sweet. You got to wait. Mm-hmm. You got to wait, and 30 years later, Clarence Thomas has some revenge. Rob, Epstein, what is it with Epstein? What are you going to be talking about?
I did a deep dive into the phone records that were released as part of the grand jury testimony regarding Jeffrey Epstein's 2006 arrest for child sex trafficking. And there are some interesting calls made to Jeffrey Epstein by the chief of police for the Palm Beach Police Department, as well as the captain of the Palm Beach. The same police department investigating Jeffrey Epstein was essentially calling him, and I'll give you more details.
Oh, weird. And by the way, Rob was up at 3 o'clock in the morning. His wife was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, I'm studying. She goes,
research.
It's 3. He goes, holy shit. And I have to go back to sleep.
Yeah, but I also fall asleep listening to 9/11 documentaries.
So do I.
Clearly not the most reliable source of information.
Rob, I don't sleep until when the planes hit. Then I'm like, okay, I know how this is going to end. It's not good. Taylor's going to be talking about Pride Month and just the debauchery, I think, is the only word you could actually say it. It's like, bro, the gay movement to me has completely it's finished. It's done. It's over. This alphabet crew is just taken over, and I think it's absolutely disgusting. She's going to be talking about that. But, yeah, just really fast. Guys, the Manect app, there's a new competition going on. Pat announced it and what is it? Oh, it's to come to the vault, Cal? Or I think it's
Meet the Rock.
Meet the Rock. The Rock. You get to smell what he's cooking. You get to see what he's cooking for the Rock. So this is the competition. So guys, if you haven't Manected, download the app and start for the competition. This is mine. If you guys want to talk about anything, I'm here for you. Rob, did he change it? Nope. Rob or Vivek, whichever one you want to talk to in here. You can talk.
Connect with me on Manect, like Victor did. Victor suggested guests for the podcast. So if you have a good guest that you think might be a good fit for PBD's podcast, connect with me. Let me know. Thank you, Victor.
Hit up Rob. Vic, Umberto's over there. Look at him. President, the most American, Chilean, anything with YouTube, with channels, with growth. Hit up Umberto. You want to talk about politics? Shane, philosopher, model. If you want to know how to get that beard that freaking perfect, you hit up Shane. He's there. Taylor, business, religion, diet, praying. She's in the half lotus position at 5 in the morning on the beach, if you want to talk about that. And Kelly, my love. Guys, production, in front of the camera, behind the camera, writing, faith. Hit up Kelly. She is the bomb. You guys won't regret it. And, yeah, guys, let's not waste time and get right into it. So, Shane, the Supreme Court ruling, talk to us about it, and then I think I'm going after you to talk even more crap.
Yeah, so on Monday, the Supreme Court ruled that U.S. presidents have absolute immunity from criminal charges regarding actions that fall within their presidential duties. So we have to understand that this is, it's not unlimited, okay? This is saying that only actions that a president must do, which obviously is up for interpretation, but the Constitution does outline that the government has to ensure the common defense, promote prosperity, promote peace, tranquility, ensure commerce. So the basic things of, ensuring the country can be have a level of peace that allows commerce to be conducted.
Got you.
That's what the president's supposed to do according to the Constitution. That's all he's supposed to do. He's not supposed to make your life easier. He's not supposed to give you free stuff. He's not supposed to do any. He's supposed to make sure that people aren't constantly shooting each other so that you can buy and sell.
And in this particular instance, the 6-3 ruling, what was it for? So
this stemmed from Trump trying to overturn, allegedly, the election results.
Oh, this is what this one was.
So when he left office, they tried to charge Trump with trying to overturn an election because he tried to challenge the results, right? He said there was election interference. He was trying to ensure election integrity in his eyes. And so they said that he committed a crime. His legal team fought back, saying no, he was doing duties as a president, and he is immune from criminal charges. This has gone all the way up to the Supreme Court now. Now the Supreme Court decides he is immune. The president, in theory, is immune. And in this instance, Trump has presumptive immunity. So they're not saying he is immune from this crime, but they are saying that he is presumably immune. And then they ordered a lower court to take up the case again and decide if this decision applies to him. So they're not even saying that he's immune from this crime.
Yeah.
They're just saying, yes, presidents should be immune from being tried for every last thing they do in office. Otherwise, the country wouldn't function. And this has been an unspoken rule since the beginning of America, because if you as the president need to, say, kill the leader of ISIS, are you going to be charged with murder for that?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
No, that doesn't make sense. How could a president ensure the common defense and promote tranquility if he has to be tried for every last crime? He's not a civilian. He's the commander-in-chief of the armed forces.
And Shane, in this, not to cut you off, I'm sorry.
No.
In this instance, he didn't try to overthrow. He didn't try to overturn. He's just questioning, because at the end of the day, we found out that they did cheat.
Yes.
They have been cheating, from the FBI going to Twitter and doing all the suppressing stories, to all these mail-in drop ballots that we've. By the way, all these states that have been people have been getting caught and arrested. Connecticut, Wisconsin, they cheated. I don't care about the level.
Exactly. And then in 2000, they did a recount. George Bush and Al Gore did a recount, and the vote ended up going to George Bush. In 2016, Hillary Clinton called for a recount, and she got her recount. Doing recounts is not illegal, and Trump was not exactly asking for a recount. He was saying that perhaps the vote itself, there was something wrong with it, but he was, doing something within the legal means of a president or even of any civilian, which is to say, hey, I don't think this election was fair. That's election integrity.
Yeah.
So they crossed, they went unprecedented by doing mail-in ballots.
Yeah.
And then also, the thing is, with all of this, is that they are freaking out right now. Democrats are freaking out. I actually haven't seen them this energetic since, I don't even know, 2020?
Since Trump was in office.
Yeah.
That was the
January
last time they were melting down to the capacity that they've melted down since Thursday's debate.
I love it.
Freaking out. So first was a debate, and that got them pretty fired up. But this ruling, I think, set them over the top. And on Twitter, they were flipping out. So first, Sotomayor gave the dissenting opinion. She's a liberal justice on the court. She said, the court effectively has created a law-free zone around the president, upsetting the status quo that has existed since the founding. Not true. This new official act, immunity, now lies about like a loaded weapon for any president that wishes to place his own interests, his own political survival, or his own financial gain above the interests of the nation. She goes, when he uses his official powers in any way under the majority's reasoning, he now will be insulated from criminal prosecution. Order the Navy SEALs Navy SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival, immune. Organizes a military coup to hold power, immune. Takes a bribe in exchange for a pardon, immune. Immune. And then she goes, the relationship between the president and the people he serves has shifted irrevocably. In every use of official power, the president is now a king above the law.
Oh, God.
So we go to the first tweet on here. So first, this is a VT.com article. This is the first one about the presumptive immunity, and then the second one, follow-up from Mason. Biden supporters call for military action against Trump after Supreme Court ruling.
Oh, weird.
Skip
Weird.
ahead.
The same people that are crying want that to happen.
Yeah, so first Chuck Schumer says, this disgraceful decision by MAGA SCOTUS. He's saying the Supreme Court is MAGA SCOTUS. Like he's saying it's no longer the Supreme Court, it's now a political entity.
Yeah, sure.
He says it undermines their credibility and suggests political influence trumps all in our courts today.
Political influence. This is coming from the same guy that went on MSNBC with Rachel Maddow and said not to mess with the intelligence agencies because they could screw you 6 ways from Sunday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What do
Same
you
guy that put that tweet out. Or
whose
intern wrote that tweet because he's 90 years old and doesn't use Twitter.
Brother, this is the same guy that puts cheese on uncooked burgers on the grill and wants us to believe anything that this piece of shit wants
That
to
was
say.
so
My
funny.
favorite was the meme that said, just like you humans, I unhinge my jaw and eat these burgers like everybody else.
Yeah.
Vegan patties after he gets back from the Pride March, and his niece is Amy Schumer. So let's not talk about credibility
God, what a golden family they are.
Yep. America's finest. So second tweet, that's the Sotomayor thing. If we go to the third thing, Harry Sisson.
That's it.
Vinny,
This guy gets me sick to my stomach.
Everyone has to go watch Vinny on Piers Morgan. Absolutely demolish this kid. He tries to. Vinny
I
just
want
destroys him.
guys
Just watch it.
these are the faces of if when I was in high school and stuff and the military, those are the guys that I beat up. That face, that voice. But the guy was talking shit about Trump, and I was like, bitch, you were 12 years old when
What
Trump
do you
was in
know about
office.
it?
Who the fuck are you talking to?
He looks like a guy that got swirlies once a week in the
absolutely.
bathroom.
Sure.
I think
Once a
the
day.
complete opposite. He didn't get enough swirlies. Like if I saw this guy in high school, he will get the biggest wedgie every
What
day.
are you doing? Fuck
Every
Wedgie.
day.
I would have whooped his ass. But go ahead, Shane.
So first, this kid tweets, according to the Supreme Court, Biden could now send in SEAL Team 6 to take all of them out. He could send in the military to take out Trump. He has immunity for official acts now. So Chris Lissavita, who's a Trump campaign advisor, just goes, expect a visit.
Oh, please.
So he then posts this video absolutely flipping out over this. Let's watch this.
Oh, it's so good. Love this.
So Donald Trump's campaign manager just threatened me on social media. I'm not joking. In response to the immunity decision from the Supreme Court this morning, I said on Twitter, according to the Supreme Court, Biden can now send in SEAL Team 6 to take them all out. He could send in the military to take out Trump. He has immunity for official acts now. And I guess the Trump campaign didn't like that very much because Trump's campaign manager, Chris Lasavita, responded to me by saying, expect a visit. Now, what do you think that means? Is the Trump campaign threatening me with a visit? Are they saying they're going to send their guys to my house to try to keep me quiet so I won't advocate against their candidate? Is that what he's implying here? You know, I'm just using my First Amendment rights to tell them how awful their candidate is. But of course, the Trump campaign doesn't believe in all that. Trump said he wants to be a dictator on day one. This really is the perfect summary of the Trump campaign. Their candidate is so terrible that they have to resort to tactics like this. But here's my message to Chris Lasavita and the entire Trump campaign. No, I won't be quiet. The tens of millions of Americans who don't support Donald Trump won't be quiet either because we see Donald Trump for what he is, a con man, a fraud, and a convicted felon.
Bro, that guy, that kid, seeing somebody like that, he has no pubic hair. Like that, when I see somebody like that and that talks like that, completely Ken Barbie, no pubic hair, no fucking masculinity, one of the softest, bro, and that's the epitome of the left. That's what they are. Soft, white, no facial hair, young, everything's
Just
going
suburban, has never had a
been
bad
punched in his
day.
face.
Yeah.
I would bet $1 million that loser has never been punched in his face.
Oh, I bet he spent more time inside of a locker than inside of a woman in his entire life. Just like, help, let me out.
Yeah,
And
he's a douchebag.
He's Biden's #1 supporter on Twitter.
Yeah.
The kid has everything is just Biden. He was literally all right, there's a niche open right now. Being a Biden supporter, as much as I could possibly be, and I'm gonna be that. He's not even right there. He goes, all of us who don't support Trump, even he has to still be okay, I'm not gonna say all of us who support Biden. We're just those who don't support Trump.
Yeah, exactly.
But still, he loves Biden, and people were passing around this fake tweet from him that was I'm going to call for Biden to step down. It's been a pleasure serving him, but now he needs a happy ending and all these innuendos.
Yeah,
and he quotes it and goes, I never said this. I love Biden. I'll fight for him till the day I
that's a
die.
question before I go to Humberto. So this type of guy, this type of voice, this type of that they're behind, is he getting paid by the Democrat?
Probably.
100.
Dude, he
has
looks
to be.
like he was made in a
He's like
lab
the
for
Greta
Disney
Thunberg.
Channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vinny, I made those payments before.
You make those payments.
Nah, yeah, to other people.
Yeah,
not
of
to
course,
the
of
Biden
course.
campaign. You
They
get-
just pick a cute
Yeah,
white little
yeah, you
kid.
get
He's
them
a
all
cute
right.
little white
And
kid.
Let me tell you something. This guy, compared to the other Biden Gen Z influencers, this guy's a rugged, Vietnam
tough.
veteran. He's a
Yeah,
tough
right.
guy.
He has-
I don't know if you guys remember.
He's actually still a guy.
Yeah,
That's a
he's
plus.
not,
By his looks, he's not going to be a guy.
I don't know if you guys remember the Benny Drama guy that they got into the when they
The thing
came
with
in.
the nails?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
guy with
yeah.
the nails and everything, and Jen Psaki. God.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks ago they had the Queer Eye guys there.
Oh, the
my
whole
God.
shit show.
Have
Oh,
you noticed not one single rugged male has come out and been I love Joe Biden?
No, none.
Biden.
In 2020, he at least had The Rock. I didn't agree with look, The Rock came out and now
You
said he's not
voted
going to
for
endorse. Yeah, I voted for him
Sorry.
not because of Rock, because I got lied to about propaganda.
Yeah.
I was
But now-
easily fooled.
You've
Now
seen
I
the light.
pay
You're
attention and read
recovering.
the news.
But now there's no one like that supporting him at all.
But bro, think about the left. If you think about the average, great point, Rob. The average supporter of the left, the Democrats, it's gays, the LGBTQAI+, it's gays, and it's soft white boys like that and just beta men. Like, dude, Harry's he's a cute little kid. I want to give him a nuggie, bro. Like, you don't exist, bro.
He seems
He's
like a
nothing.
guy that would lose his job to some type of DEI hire and be like, you know what? I applaud the company for, moving forward and trying to break down.
Wow, what do you mean
barriers.
fire? He would quit. He would quit. He'd be like, "Hey guys, I'm quitting because we want more room for gay black people."
Just start paying him
But Harry's, you're a
himself.
douchebag, bro.
But-
You're a douchebag, just like the Hassan guy that was on freaking
Hassan Minaj?
Hassan,
Hassan
all of them.
Minaj.
Hassan Minaj and Cheng's
Hassan
nephew,
Piker.
who's like
Yeah.
Hassan. He's like, "Oh, I'm such a big fan." Anybody that has uttered the words "America deserved 9/11," you can go fuck yourself to the end. There's no excuse, and you can't come back from that. By the way, Hassan is a socialist, communist lover with a $3 million house.
Yeah,
They're like,
and a
"Don't you-"
Porsche.
Yeah, and a Porsche. Guess what? They should tax you 90%. I want that guy taxed 90% of all his shit.
That's how everything is. He's a communist, but he has a Porsche. Just like they're accusing Trump of the same thing that they did.
They're doing
like
it.
literally when they were like, "Oh, he's trying to overturn the election." Really, the election was unconstitutional. It is election day, not election week.
Month,
and we had mail-in ballots. They stopped the voting. I mean, I'm sure all of you guys remember we were watching it. And they're like, "Oh, we're going to be done for the night. We'll get back to you." And it's like,
No.
what?
Yeah, I don't trust
So
that.
literally
Talking
everything that they have done, they're accusing Trump of doing, and then they're outraged. It's like, just like communists, they say they want all equality, but let them live in the mansions, let them have the Porsches.
Yeah.
You peasants, you can wait outside.
It's called projection. That's what they do. It's always the people that are pointing the hardest. It's
They're
the
doing
ones. The
it.
same as the
Yeah.
Lincoln Project pieces of shit. Just like all those guys, it's always the ones that are going, "Hey, you're the bad guy." They're the ones with all the skeletons. They're the ones that are doing all the illegal shit.
Yeah.
If
Go
I
ahead.
can just go to, you mentioned the young kid. He's like, I actually feel if it was the DEI, he'd give up his job. No, I feel he'd be the first one to be pissed. And
Absolutely.
he would turn around because he actually doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Oh,
he
he
would be
don't-
actually very upset. How could you give up my job? But in front of everyone, I'm going to act, no, equality. But they really don't care. It's just a front because they want the attention.
Well, did you see the World Economic Forum is now being sued by all these people alleging sexual harassment? Klaus Schwab got sued for sexual harassment
Really?
Yeah, he
yesterday,
did.
and all these other people are accusing them of being racist behind the scenes. So it's
no,
like,
wait.
wow.
Oh, really? Klaus Schwab
interesting.
with that accent. That
Yeah.
guy's not. The COVID-19 virus? Yeah, that guy has definitely said the N-word before. And by the way, what was it with his assistant? They said that he put his leg
He
up.
would put his leg up on the desk and to female assistants and go, "I'd like to see you in a Hawaiian dress." Like
What kind of sexual fantasy is that? Like, I
you
want to see you in
imagine
a
Klaus-
toga. Like, dude, those guys are all demons.
Harvey
bro.
Weinstein?
I'm,
Not
yeah,
even
I'm
kidding.
just happy, bro, that the turning, because by the way, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I used to hear the future looks bright, I didn't believe it. I'm being genuinely honest. But then with God, because I know the future looks bright because I believe in God and I know the end game. But the future looks bright in the sense that people, us, you guys, we are starting to say like the enough is enough FU movement, because dude, the internet is as effed up as it is. It's keeping us alive. It's keeping us, because you can't hide these stories. You can't hide this information. And listen, Elon Musk might be a freaking wolf in sheep's clothing. He might be the Antichrist. His kid might be the Antichrist. But guess what? Thank you for X. Appreciate it.
Before we move on, I just want to make a point that Pat made yesterday, and I think I want to be on the record with this
Go
because
ahead.
he might be onto something. He's very smart. He said that now they're crying about it, but the people that are going to use this the most, well, guess who it is? Is
The
it
Democrats.
all right?
Oh, in 20
All right,
years,
so
forget
They're
it.
going to cry about it. I'm calling it now. I'm copying Pat, but they're going to cry about
Yeah.
it now, and they're going to use it the most. So just
Exactly.
buckle up.
wait,
Also,
just buckle up.
Also, in addition to that, the reason why they're so mad is because they are the real authoritarians.
Yeah.
They want to be able to arrest presidents left and right when they don't agree with them. That's the real thing here. It's not they're not mad that Trump is going to become an authoritarian. They're mad that they can't be authoritarians to the citizens' presidents that they elect democratically. That's what's really going on.
Exactly.
Here. So let's be clear here about who really loves power and who's really the king.
I agree. Oh, Shane, great freaking story. You already got us revved up. I'm already pissed off. I want to
Punch that kid in the
slap a
face.
little freaking kid with like when you're that young and that white and your face still has like blush on it. Get the fuck out of here, bro. You haven't lived a life. You haven't done shit in your life. Anyway, sorry. All right, moving on. You guys, Clarence Thomas is one of the Supreme Court justices, and he has, guys, the history that these two have with racist Joe Biden. I'm going to say that again because they always say it about Trump. racist on record, Joe Biden. Well, I think yesterday was a day, and it's a series. They're going to keep coming of just vindication for Clarence Thomas and the ruling. Because of the past battles with Joe Biden. Here's a video. This is his, what is it called when they put your confirmation hearing? This is, I think it was a part of a documentary where he's saying Clarence Thomas is how stupid and dumb and not knowledge Joe Biden is in this documentary. I'm going to have Kelly play it. Kelly, play it.
Good morning, Judge. Welcome to the blinding lights.
Look at that smile, that dork smile.
Finding out what you mean when you say that you would apply the natural law philosophy to the Constitution is, in my view, the single most important task of this committee.
Right, ready?
Senator Biden was very focused on natural law. How did that go?
Who knows? I have no idea what he was talking about.
I just want to make sure we all know what we're talking about. You and I know at least what we're talking about here. There's a fervent and aggressive school of thought that wishes to see natural law further inform the Constitution than it does now, argued against by the positivists led by Judge Bork. Now, again, that may be lost on all the people. You know and I know what we're talking about.
I have to be perfectly honest with you. You sit there and you have no idea what they are talking about. All I know is that he was asking me these questions about natural law. One of the things you do in hearings is you have to sit there and look attentively at people you know have no idea what they're talking about.
So dude, so think about this history, and for you guys, because I mean, Taylor, you might have, I mean, you were probably too young, but the history between these two, when Clarence Thomas was getting confirmation in 1991, Joe Biden, who's sitting there, he was the chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and they put this black man, okay, through hell. Racist Joe Biden put this poor guy through hell, and that's why I think these moments, bro, 30 years later, Clarence Thomas is coming back in their faces with this right in their face. And you guys remember, do you actually remember what he actually said? Because I'm going to have Kelly play this next clip coming up where he said he called what they were doing to Clarence Thomas high-tech lynching. And I want, Kelly, I love you. Can you play? Guys, this is when they give him the floor to talk. I'm going to let the whole thing play out. It's such a F you to what you're doing. And I think they might show Joe Biden's face, but it's a freaking classic. I watch this maybe once a month just because of everything that's going on, just to feel his hate towards this racist Joe Biden. Go ahead, Kelly.
Do you have anything you'd like to say?
Senator, I would like to start by saying unequivocally, uncategorically,
this is about Anita Hill.
That I deny each and every single allegation against me today that suggested in any way that I had conversations of a sexual nature or about pornographic material with Anita Hill, that I ever attempted to date her, that I ever had any personal sexual interest in her, or that I in any way ever harassed her. A second, and I think more important point, I think that this today is a travesty. I think that it is disgusting. I think that this hearing should never occur in America. This is a case in which this sleaze, this dirt, was searched for by staffers of members of this committee.
Joe Biden.
Was then leaked to the media.
Racist Joe Biden.
And this committee and this body
there he is.
Validated it and displayed it at prime time over our entire nation. How would any member on this committee, any person in this room, or any person in this country would like sleaze said about him or her in this fashion, or this dirt dredged up, and this gossip and these lies displayed in this manner? How would any person like it? The Supreme Court is not worth it.
Wow.
No job is worth it. I'm not here for that. I'm here for my name, my family, my life, and my integrity.
Oh.
I think something is dreadfully wrong with this country.
Yep.
When any person in this free country would be subjected to this. This is not a closed room.
Here we go.
There was an FBI investigation. This is not an opportunity to talk about difficult matters privately or in a closed environment. This is a circus. It's a national disgrace. And from my standpoint,
here we go.
As a black American, as far as I'm concerned, it is a high-tech lynching for uppity blacks who in any way deign to think for themselves, to do for themselves, to have different ideas. And it is a message that unless you kowtow to an old order, this is what will happen to you. You will be lynched, destroyed, caricatured by a committee of the U.S. Senate rather than hung from a tree.
Wow.
Wow.
Like, let me, guys, I had to play that whole thing. Freaking mic drop and then racist Joe Biden. Guys, I'm going to keep saying it. Racist Joe Biden thought that he was going to be the end of this guy, and 30 years later, he is shitting on you, on your leftists, on that committee. And by the way, that whole high-tech lynching, Joe Biden was the main lyncher. Like, go ahead, Humberto.
All right, talking about racism, you skipped my news story in the beginning.
What?
No, I'm joking. But look, he is so hard, surgical with his words. Like, you hear him talk, and every word that comes out of it means something. The pauses. And one of my favorite quotes from Sun Tzu is that if you wait by the river long enough, the bodies of your enemies will float by.
That's such a good one.
And that's what it is. He's done everything right, like integrity, studying, being on top of things. And this is what you get. So I encourage everyone out there, just do what's right and good things will happen to you most of the time.
Oh, and just hang around and wait.
Yeah, and, on the point of, you mentioned I was younger when this happened. When was this? What was the year?
1991.
Okay, I wasn't even born yet.
Great.
However,
I was about to go into high school.
However, that's the importance of knowing history and learning history. Because if you don't know history, it's very easy to manipulate the minds of the present, because if you look historically, it is actually the Democratic Party that was the racist party. When you look at slavery, now they just remasked it and they recommunicate it. But if you don't know history, like, I bet most people don't even know that the first black person that ever ran for president was actually part of the Liberty Party, which was a Republican, which was Frederick Douglass in 1848.
Weird.
So, and when you look historically, you can see the patterns of the Democratic Party. Now they just restructure their language, because exactly that. A black man was running for the U.S. Supreme Court.
Yep.
Could you imagine if that happened today?
No way.
And it was the same. Absolutely not.
What do you mean?
They never stopped being racist. It just took up racist Marxism. That is different. Like, how they always talk about the black vote, the Latino vote, this vote. Like, I'm Latino. I don't agree with my family members. Like, I hang out with black people all day. Like, they don't agree amongst them. Like, how's the black vote a thing? That's so racist.
They only care about you if you agree with them. If you disagree with them, they don't give a shit about you.
If you're voting block, they care about you. But, like, I don't understand.
And here's my thing. I just don't understand how African Americans, how black people cannot see this shit. Like, what is it going to take for them to realize that this party doesn't give a shit about you? Mind you, I'm Middle Eastern. I'm not Republican. I'm not Democrat. I don't label myself shit. I just vote for the best choice for this country. But I don't understand. Slavery started, Democratic Party. Oh, you hear all this shit. And then they kowtow. They try to, culturally appropriate. Like, hey, we're white. We're cool. We love the blacks. No, they don't. Okay? They actually hate you. So start waking the fuck up and stop voting with this brainwash mentality. Fucking vote with your fucking brain. Okay? Don't let your heart, they don't care. Racism. No, that's bullshit.
Yeah, and say all you want about, like, Fox News, but if you compare CNN and how they talk about the black voter versus Fox News at this point, I feel like Fox News is less racist than CNN. Yeah. And CNN is, like, the way they talk about it is just like, well, the black vote, this demographic vote, they literally talk about politics solely in categories of identity.
Yeah, and not with policy.
Not with policy.
Just vote for us because we like black people and they hate you.
Exactly. And then what you have on Fox is them being like genuinely trying to make inroads with minority communities through universally good policies regarding jobs and economics. And so that's what politics should be. Whereas on CNN, they literally are like, well, why are black people going for Trump? We give them abortions, as if that, like, their mentality of what they think is so innately racist and has such a racist idea of what
what you just said. Guys, we're letting you have abortions. We're letting you ultimately murder more black people. And what the fuck are we talking about?
And then they're like, well, the only way this could be happening is misinformation. We have to keep censoring more people. That's like, they don't even think like maybe we need to do a better job by these communities to get rewarded by them with votes. No, it's someone else talking that's the problem. We need to stop them from talking. Like, what kind of mentality, what anti-American mentality is that?
Yeah, and I mean, how racist is it to think that all black people should think the same? Like all white people, like all Asian people, like all women and it's like, that is the definition of racist. Because you look like this, you should think like this. It's like, no, we're all actually independent individuals that think separately. And the fact, like what you were saying, they want to, as long as you agree that your dependence on them and the fact that they give you happiness, that they give you freedom, then you're thinking correctly. It's like, it's up to the government to provide opportunities to you versus, you're an individual. You can go, I mean, abortion is just a silly thing, but you have the autonomy to go be a Supreme Court justice, to go be the president of the United States, to go run a business. It's like, it's not, but what do they want to do today? The Democratic Party, I would even say it's on both sides too. They want to frame themselves as that your happiness and your success is thanks to me.
Mm-hmm. Can I get the
versus the individual.
No, yeah, go for it. We still got a couple minutes.
And they're out of luck. Because this country right here, it wasn't founded on race. It wasn't founded on a geographical location. This was founded on ideas. On ideas. That's what the founding document says. We have a set of ideas and principles that are beyond race, beyond religion, beyond anything that they can try to group.
Yeah.
It's out of there. Like we're an ideas country. And anyone that wants to join our ideas and our morals and our values is welcome, and they can hold the highest office. They can do whatever. And that's America for you. I'm sorry.
Yep.
And anyone can be American, right?
Anyone can
be American if you do that.
As long as you stick with the program.
And you stick to the program, you get it legally, right? And it's exactly what you said. Inalienable rights that were given to us by God, not man. Therefore, only God gives them to us. Man can't take them away.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that clip of Kamala Harris talking on the BET Awards where she's on FaceTime with that black actress?
Guys, I'm going to say the word again. Cringe, but go ahead.
The cringiest thing
She's
ever.
so cringy.
And she's like, oh, I'm out in these streets. It's like, you're covered in jewelry in a
your husband's white,
dress
bitch. Shut up. Your husband's
Your
white.
security drove you here.
And she's like, yeah, so I'm out in these streets and, people are saying, like, these radicals, these extremists, they ain't like us. They don't like abortion, and they like guns. And it's like this fear of this, like, yeah, there's just mobs of like white nationalists everywhere, and I alone can protect you from these evil, like, Klan members everywhere.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. What claims more black lives? Okay, what claims more black lives? Is it guns every year or abortions by black women?
Mm-hmm.
Give me a fucking break. It's not even
in New York City, you have a higher probability of being aborted than you do born.
That's fucking crazy. And that's the party. Guys, are you paying attention? They want you to fucking kill black babies. Get it? They don't want you around. Like, I'm boggled. But it boggles my mind that these people think that we're all so stupid. And you nailed it. Like, listen, yeah, the country was founded, yes, because I know some people are like, oh, but they were slavery. Yes, they were slavery. Nobody's here's family or ancestors owned slaves. I'm Middle Eastern, okay? That was a shitty moment in our time. But like when people keep bringing up the race part of that, I'm like, guys, at some point, we have to get over it. I'm not saying forget it, but we are never, and this is what the Democratic Party does, keep us all fight. Race, yeah, but slavery. Like, guys, we're never going to move forward as a species, as human beings if we keep going, yeah, but 300 years ago, 200 years ago, at what point? We're going to be at 1,000 years. Well, yeah, but 1,000 years ago, this small group of white people is like, guys, let's move on together because there's a bigger enemy. They say there's a way bigger enemy that wants to keep us fighting with each other so we can't get to them. So we're all just squabbling down here while they're running away and they're laughing their asses off about us.
Yeah, and if I can make 1 second, because 100%, and Thomas Sowell writes a lot about this, when you look at slavery, it was an evil that we did in our country, right? But it was also an evil around the world.
Everybody.
And so if you were to point fingers at everyone who had slavery, we'd all be pointing at each other through our ancestry. Not saying obviously today, but it was everywhere. I mean, he literally in Wealth, Poverty, and Poverty and Politics, he talks about how pirates enslaved millions of people.
Yeah.
It's like it's an unfortunate evil that was everywhere.
Africans enslaved fellow Africans. They're the ones who sold them to European countries in the first place. And then in the Middle East, they had slaves. In all throughout Asia, they had and continue to have slaves. I mean, it's...
Do you guys know who during that time? Because I think America and Kelly... Rob, could you guys fact check me? How many slaves did America take in during the whole slave... I want to say 200 to 300,000, and Brazil took the most slaves. I think it was millions. So if you want to compare who had slaves the most, there's not even a question of. Did you look it up, Umberto?
But if you listen to them, you would think America's just uniquely evil.
We're the only one.
Racist, terrible.
Rob, are you looking for it from here?
I am, but I don't. I'm looking American slave numbers.
Yeah, who took in the most slaves?
The problem is, and it brings up North America, South America, so it brings up the Americas as a whole. And according to the Americas as a whole, 10.7 million disembarked alive in the Americas. However, 12.5 million enslaved Africans were European and to Europe.
To Brazil. But I'm talking about like the whole America are during that whole slavery time. That I think the number's very, very low. But anyway, all right, guys, we're going to move on. Rob.
Yes.
You've been up since... Wait, what time did you sleep? 3?
I went to bed at 3 o'clock.
What time did you wake up?
Well, my 5-year-old woke me up at 7.
So Rob, with 4 hours of sleep, has dug deep into Epstein's disgusting demon activities. Rob, let us know what you found.
Okay, so it's been an interesting week in the world of Jeffrey Epstein news. Last Friday, it came out that a former girlfriend and victim of Epstein, Jane Doe 200, confirmed that Jeffrey Epstein was a Mossad agent. Something everybody kind of assumes, but now more people are speaking out about it, specifically women that had direct ties to both Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Then this information came out this week. According to newly released court transcripts, prosecutors heard testimony from the 2006 sex trafficking conviction of Jeffrey Epstein. So what it is it's a batch of sealed grand jury testimony and evidence that was released this week. And there's the article from, is that Daily Mail? Yeah, Daily Mail. I also know that there's an article up at VT.com, correct?
Correct.
About Jeffrey Epstein's ties to the Mossad and this, so you should probably go to VT.com.
Probably.
Daily Mail or... corporate media liars.
And Rob, and not to cut you off, I've been noticing a lot of, and this is just an observation, a lot of Israeli Mossad, Epstein, 9/11, the guy that's the dancing Israelis. There's a lot of bad shit that has happened here, and a lot of it is tying. I hear Mossad a lot, and I hear Israel a lot. I'm just throwing that out there, which is kind of weird. I know you're not supposed to point out obvious things, but I just wanted to make that point. Go ahead, Rob.
Well, yeah, and it's not the first time. So these documents, and I'll get to the phone calls. The phone records that were released in these documents are super interesting. I haven't gone through the other 100 pages, but just through the 50 pages of phone documents, there's some very interesting phone calls that were made to Jeffrey Epstein. This is going back to 2006. But let's fast forward to 2019 when Alexander Acosta was getting vetted for a cabinet position in the Trump administration, and they asked him about the sweetheart deal that Jeffrey Epstein was given in 2006 for these crimes. So in these crimes that happened in 2016, and they're bad. I mean, we always knew Jeffrey Epstein was into underage girls, but one of the girls was as young as 14. I've got a 14-year-old at home. Like, listen, at 14, I was probably a little bit different and mature than he is today because COVID set him back 2 years.
Yeah.
I can literally see it. Like he has not matured. He's at the maturity level of a 7th grader when he should be at the maturity level of a 9th grader.
That's what they did.
That's what happens by being locked in and the only people he was around was his stepmother, me, his mother, and his brother for 2 years.
Yeah.
Because we were, being cautious. We tried to flatten the curve and help out. So, like, there's all these in these documents, it comes out Jeffrey Epstein is recruiting 14-year-old girls. He's getting high school girls to go and recruit other high school girls to come, and for $300 at a time, they're giving him nude back massages. Sometimes he is using sexual devices on some of the girls. He's requesting sex acts from the girls.
Probably recording them all.
Yeah, because
cameras are everywhere.
According to the maids that worked in his West Palm Beach apartment, the West Palm Beach estate, there were surveillance cameras. Maybe it was the New York one. One of the properties.
They're still everywhere, Rob. If he did it in one, trust me, he did it in the other one.
Yeah, you don't set up an entire surveillance system inside of one home and then not the other. Especially the other one where you bring rich, famous people to bang underage chicks and then you use as blackmail to compromise them.
Weird.
So, an investigation starts into Jeffrey Epstein. A 14-year-old girl, maybe it was a 14 or 17-year-old girl, I'm not sure which.
Still underage.
Underage girl goes and tells her mother that she accepted money to do sex acts to this guy that lives in a mansion. The police launch a 13-month investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein ends up, instead of being charged federally, he is charged with state crimes for sex trafficking. He's given 18 months in prison, part of the sweetheart deal that Alexander Acosta gives him, 18-month sweetheart deal in which he only serves 15 months of the 18 months. And the sweetheart deal is that he can go home to work during the day. Now, what that work might include, you might ask? Lining up other underage girls to be viciously raped and molested.
Yeah, weird.
So they sign a plea deal with a pervert that allows him to go home and then arrange for other perverts to come rape these girls. And then he goes and tucks in at jail at night and goes to sleep.
Wow.
And then he wakes up and goes back to his home. That was the jail sentence that Jeffrey Epstein was given. So then I started digging into the phone records. We fast forward. Clearly, Alexander Acosta in 2019 says when questioned about the plea deal that he was given or that he gave Jeffrey Epstein, said the reason he gave it to him was because he was told Jeffrey Epstein belonged to intelligence, that it was above his pay grade, and to leave it alone.
So they might have actually been right that was a job that he was doing.
So that was a job. Dude, can you, guys? Can you hold on?
behalf of who?
Can you wrap your brains around that? We were told this guy. What's his name?
Alexander Acosta.
Acosta was told, let this convicted fucking pedophile out during the day to keep pedophiling and then let him go back. What? Dude, that means that the protection level of this guy is unheard of.
That's what I want to get to, buddy.
Yeah, go.
All right,
Holy
let's go
shit.
to the next thing, Kelly, if we could. So I started digging into these records. Here it is. This is released on the Palm Beach County website. These are some of the links to the evidence, and if you click the play button, Kelly, there's no audio because I just recorded this on my phone. Hopefully Pornhub doesn't show up.
Yep, that's going to happen. Pervert.
Then you scroll to the phone logs. When we open up the phone records, these are phone records back from 2004, 5, and 6 made to Jeffrey Epstein. The specific phone records that we're going to look at, there it is, telephone message forms. So back in the day when you get a phone call and you had, you were arranging underage girls to get raped and molested by businessmen, you would have your secretary take your notes for the phone calls that you're missing because you want to get back to those perverts to arrange more raping. So here, a lot of these are blacked out. Interesting.
They're redacted.
A lot of phone calls from his attorney, who happened to be Alan Dershowitz, who helped negotiate the plea deal. But as you see, these are all listed in chronological order. So even though dates or actual phone records are blacked out, you can't see the dates, you can see that the ones that aren't dated, they're in chronological order. That brings us to the March investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. They launched a 13-month investigation, March of 2005, into Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein is not actually charged until July 25th of 2006, 13 months later. The news doesn't pick up on this until July 25th, 2 days before he's actually arrested. We can confirm that because in these documents, Kelly, if we could show it again, if you scroll down far enough, we probably went too far at this point, and that's fine. It's on me. But when you get to July 5th of 2006, the media starts calling. So it's an ABC News reporter, it's a New York Post reporter, it's a Channel 5.
And the secretary's noting,
she's taking
down notes.
Each of these phone calls that are coming in. So clearly that's when the news breaks that Jeffrey Epstein, July 25th, he's arrested July 27th. So at least the investigation got leaked to the media on July 25th. However, let's go to this phone call right here. April 17th at 2:20 p.m. This is April 17th. 13 months after the investigation into Jeffrey Epstein begins, Chief Ritter of the Palm Beach Police Department makes a phone call to Jeffrey Epstein's house. Why is the chief of police of the police department that is still doing an ongoing investigation into Jeffrey Epstein calling Jeffrey Epstein's residence before this news has been leaked to the media? So Epstein should not be aware that the investigation is ongoing. They don't contact his attorney. They don't. If anybody was to call him, Kelly asked Steve, because Steve's a former police officer. Said, is this protocol? Or would, a deputy, or would a police officer, a detective, maybe they're arranging an interview. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
Maybe they're calling Jeffrey Epstein to arrange an interview because it's an ongoing investigation. Bring him in. Let's talk to him. Let's see what he has to say about these charges. It wouldn't be the chief of police making that phone call. It'd be a detective or an investigator. According to our friend Steve, who's a former police officer.
Warnicki.
13 years, right? 13 years.
He wrote a freaking book.
And working in the Denver Police Department, Steve?
Yeah.
Let's go to the next call. Okay, you chalk that one up to maybe they're investigating.
Okay.
This phone call comes in, and we don't know the day or time because the secretary's terrible and didn't note it at the top. Thanks
Dumb
a lot.
bitch.
But because these calls are placed in chronological order, we know this call comes after the April 17th phone call from Chief Michael Ritter, but before the July 25th phone calls from the press. This is from the captain of the police department. This is Captain Elmer Gudgeon of the Palm Beach Police Department, PBPD. And read the memo at the bottom. He's calling a guy his police department's investigating with news that ABC New York and reporters are asking about the Epstein investigation.
Holy shit.
Why would the captain of the police department investigating a guy for pedophilia and sex trafficking call the person that his department is investigating and tell them that the news is calling them looking for comment?
Holy shit, Rob.
Yeah,
that is
tipping them off.
Tipping him off.
Yeah,
Rob, 1,000%. First of all, go ahead, Shane.
I just want to say real quick that it seemed like the first one, we don't have the time for the second one, but the first one's time was during work hours.
2:20 p.m.
So, this is on-duty police calling a suspect in a case.
He made a great point.
You
go everything. By the way, there's no reason for the chief. It's the DA's office. It's the prosecutors that would call a lawyer, and none of this goes to somebody's house that's being investigated, especially the fucking captain. What are you, nuts?
And Rob asked me about this yesterday, and I gave him an answer about the role of the police chief. I actually went through and got the job descriptions from their websites.
Okay.
And nowhere in the job description says calling a suspect.
Never.
Never.
What are you,
None
crazy?
Calling one of the worst pedophiles the county.
I know.
At least the county has ever seen.
I got 4 of them and compare all of them, and nowhere near the job description. It's just media communication and organizing department. Zero.
No. And so I wish that I had screen grabbed this and sent this to Kelly. I apologize for you watching it because I want to give you credible information. The relationship between Jeffrey Epstein and the police department in Palm Beach, and I don't remember where I saw this. It was definitely on Wikipedia, and it was in one of either the police officers' articles or Jeffrey Epstein. In it, it talks about Epstein's relationship with the Palm Beach Police Department. It goes back to when Jeffrey Epstein was involved in there was either a break-in or some type of crime committed at Jeffrey Epstein's home, and he had police come over to look at the surveillance equipment, and the police were like, wow, you have really high-tech surveillance equipment. He's like, oh, I can actually donate some of this to the police department. So Jeffrey Epstein had a relationship with the police before any of this even happened.
That's a
We're
bribe.
talking 2004. Now you fast forward to 2006, just weeks before he gets arrested, and the entire world knows this guy's a pedophile, or at least accused of it. And the police captain and the police chief are both calling him. Let's pull up this final note that I found. This is the final call, and I could not find. So if you're out there in the chat and you're watching and you're enjoying this, help me find Nina or Christina. This is the only thing that I can't solve this piece of the puzzle. And this is what's kept me up until 3 o'clock at night, trying to figure out who Nina is, because this phone call comes in after Captain Elmer Gudgeon,
whatever.
Yes, his phone call comes in, and before the media starts calling on the 25th, this phone call comes in from another person within the Palm Beach Police Department. If we could show this phone message up, it's from Nina, PBPD, Palm Beach Police Department. Len Pepper, ABC News, Epstein. So again, this is, and it turns out that the secretary not only sucks at taking down times and dates, they also suck at names, because it's Len Tepper, the longtime ABC investigative journalist who was calling the Palm Beach Police Department again, trying to get information about this investigation, and then the Palm Beach Police Department, whoever Nina is or Christina that worked at the department at that time, then calls Epstein to inform him. So 2 separate phone calls regarding media contacts reaching out regarding the investigation into Jeffrey Epstein's pedophilia activities before anybody knew about it, possibly even Jeffrey Epstein, and the only way he knew about it is because the same police that were investigating him called him to tip him off.
Wow. So you know what, dudes? Okay, so if you break that down, if you think about it, the level of security that he had, meaning he had carte blanche to do whatever he wants. Even if he got arrested, he got to go on, what is it called when you get to walk in and out of prison?
It was like work release.
It's like, yeah,
that's what
it's called pedophile release. No, you're being right, because guys, the only way that this makes sense is if he belonged to an intelligence agency, ours, Mossad, whoever, that he can have this type of crime, like he's not convicted. He's arrested for, and he's what's it called? Not alleged. He was arrested.
Arrested and convicted.
He's arrested and convicted pedophile. Then they let you walk out of the prison to go home with no surveillance, no ankle bracelet, no nothing. Dude, there's no other explanation unless you are being protected by somebody bigger and by an agency that's in cahoots with the United States, if not the United States, and saying, hey guys, we know, we get it. Don't touch him.
And think of how many women, young girls, because then he gets out. I mean, he serves 18 months. He's not rearrested until 2019. So you're talking about him getting out in 2008, 2009. 10 years. Jeez. This guy was allowed to go on and continue to victimize, rape, molest, and arrange other men to come and molest these poor underage girls. And it's because of, look at this. Wow. Look at the connections that this guy had just locally, and then you expand that to, I mean, the reason that Alexander Acosta stepped away from the potential cabinet position was because he didn't want to shine a spotlight on the Trump administration regarding this. He even said that. So he's like, even I can't defend my actions any further.
Well, because
I shouldn't have done it, and look what happened. I'm going to step aside so that somebody can step into this position, and this won't be the talk that the media talks about over and over and over.
But Rob, Acosta said that the reason was that he said definitively that he was a Mossad agent?
He was told he belongs to intelligence and to leave it alone. They didn't say Mossad, CIA, FBI, to intelligence.
To intelligence. So there's no explanation why an intelligence agency from the United States would let a known pedophile go home and there's no fucking way.
Also, we have to remember that the official story is that he was a lone wolf. Just
right.
Crazy, eccentric rich guy who happened to be a pedophile, and that there was no blackmailing going on, that there was this was not an operation, and it was certainly not an operation from an intelligence agency. And that's the thing, though. Several episodes ago, I did that segment on Epstein's book, his favorite book.
Yes.
And he told another girlfriend, incidentally, he told her that if you want to know what I do for a living, read this book. The book is called The Man from Orgy, and it's about a guy who works for a shadowy intelligence agency in the United States government, tracking down people and using sex trafficking rings to do so.
Weird.
So this is him saying what he does to somebody else, and we're supposed to believe that he was able to get this sweetheart deal because he's just a random lone wolf pedophile and has no connections. If a bigger agency found out that the Florida State Police were allowing this guy to come in and out of prison, everyone involved would be arrested, just like everyone gets arrested when they find out that people are getting bought off by the cartels.
Exactly.
None of these cops have ever been arrested. None of them have even had an investigation into them while this is all known to have gone on. So the only protection is agency.
Is an agency, and think about the scope of it. This dude, this is the more I hear about it, the more it solidifies. This guy was given immunity. He was given money, Rob, to invite all these powerful people from all walks of life. By the way, the Epstein flight logs, we know the people, some people that are powerful enough they bypass all that shit. I've seen it happen. You can bypass being on a private jet. Trust me, your name, the logs, if you know the people. The fact that they were going there, recording these people doing this type of shit, and that they had to protect him because he's the gatekeeper. He's the guy. He has all the footage, and no matter how much you protect him, who's to say, Rob? That's why they whacked him, because they're like, listen, he might have shit that he's not even showing us.
Oh, man. Yeah. If you really want to go down a rabbit hole, just wait until Mark Epstein's interview with Patrick Bet-David comes out next week, Monday or Tuesday. It's going to come out. It's fantastic. But he actually sent us, Vinny, and I'll show you these photos. He actually sent us photos of Epstein's autopsy that have never been released to the public. The photo that I am looking at that they tell us is Jeffrey Epstein doesn't look anything like him.
Yep.
And this is where the photo has the same case number, because on the photos what they do is they have inch marks. They have like a little ruler that you can see with the number of the case file. So it's the same number of the case file, but on one photo on the neck, and it's a small little cut right here, no beard whatsoever. Nothing. Clean shaven completely. You look at the photo that Mark Epstein sent us with the same case number, he has a full-blown beard, and the ligature mark on the neck is so deep. It wraps around the entire neck. My opinion, the photos that they've released of Jeffrey Epstein are not actually Jeffrey Epstein. Does that mean he's alive or dead?
Who knows?
But the photos that I saw, I'm telling you right now, I would put my life on the line, and I'm probably doing that by living in Palm Beach County and talking this way about the
demons.
police. Don't be surprised if I get a bunch of red light tickets at the minimum or a suspected DUI.
I'll bail you out.
Either way, I look at that photo and I go, that's not Epstein. And so that's why I was like, last night, I'm like, oh, man, I'm going to the call logs. I'm going to this. And then finally, my wife's like, you better go to bed. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, my God.
Vinny, I was sitting right there. That interview is incredible. I was taking notes there. And, I keep notes of everything that Pat says while he's live. And there's a few things that didn't make sense. And I just thought of another one. You guys are going to have to watch the interview.
Okay.
The money side of things, Vinny. Like the amount of money people were willing to pay to get this guy out of any situation.
Oh, fuck.
Like we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars to get this guy out of everything.
And you know why? Because he's the one that had footage of them fucking underage kids.
Yeah, I don't care what anyone says. I don't buy that he was that good of a financier to be that rich.
No, he's not,
to the point where
bro.
he could have a 10-story apartment in Manhattan.
No.
Plus an island, and no one knows how he got his money. No one knows his secrets.
And also be a lone wolf.
Yeah, and be a lone wolf. And then also, did they talk about Maxwell in the interview?
Yes.
Elaine?
Because we have to remember that her dad was literally a Mossad agent.
Robert Maxwell.
Like literally a Mossad. That's like confirmed fact.
It is so good. I can't wait for Tuesday.
I'm excited to watch it.
It's gonna be huge.
But on your point of the lone wolf, I love when things of this size, they're like, oh, it's a lone wolf. Same with like the JFK assassination originally, like they were saying that as well. It's like, absolutely not. Why would people pay hundreds of millions of dollars to get a lone wolf out of certain situations? And I also thinking of the Mossad agents, and when they're speaking of that, that's why no country, no agency should be above reproach. All of them should be able to be criticized. All of them should be spoken about, because the minute they take your ability to criticize or speak negatively upon somebody, a country, an agency, everything's covered up.
I agree. Well, dude, Rob, thank you so much for doing the. Bro,
Thank you.
The shit that I don't. He could totally still be alive. Totally. I don't believe anything. We just talked about this before.
Yeah.
I don't believe any official story. I don't believe anything that they tell us to believe. Do your own research. And you guys, it's okay to have your own opinion and not believe the official narrative. Anyway, moving on. Umberto, Congressman Massie. What's his full name? Thomas Massie?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bro, I heard this today. Rob told me that after his AIPAC criticism on Tucker, his wife recently died suddenly. What the hell is going on?
Like, first of all, I need to do. Like, I mean, I need to.
You have the hiccups? I bet you $1 million you won't hiccup anymore.
How?
I just bet you $1 million. You want to take it?
All right.
Okay, go.
Fake it.
You better hiccup.
But
Peanut butter gets rid of hiccups.
Yeah.
really,
Interesting.
Yep.
in all
That was $1 million. Go ahead.
in all seriousness, first disclaimer, Thomas Massie is one of the most decent human beings, probably the most decent human beings in politics right now.
I agree.
I don't think there's a single gram of hate on this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the only guy that votes his heart and votes his morals in. And this is a tragedy. So my deepest sense of condolences. I was actually I wasn't gonna do the story, but I think it's important. So where his wife and his family is gonna be in our prayers. So that's a fair thing. Like I'm gonna try to treat this very respectfully.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, think about what they're going through.
Yeah, I think very highly of him.
Okay.
So anyhow, this was announced on June 27th. The cause of death of his wife was sudden death. She died in Mount Rainier. Their house was the place of her death. And this surprisingly came right after him. Like, this guy, voting his conscience, has a lot of enemies.
Oh, you think?
A lot of enemies.
Of course he does.
And this comes 3 weeks after him making some remarks on the relationship between AIPAC and the government. I think we have a video here, so you guys can get some context.
Okay.
This is a clip. This is a segment when he exposes that every single Republican congressman has an AIPAC person.
Okay. And what does AIPAC stand for everybody?
America Israel Political Action Committee.
Now, before we play, did any of you guys know that every single member of Congress had an AIPAC representative that they met with? You read the news pretty much every day.
I had no idea.
I had no idea till he told me.
idea.
I worked in D.C.
How is it possible?
with
So everybody,
Republicans, and I had no idea.
every congressman, everybody in Washington has somebody that's an Israel representative.
That's what Thomas Massie
All right, let's hear.
claims.
All right, can we hear this?
Sounds like collusion.
They're not registered.
Is there any other Republican who has your views on this?
Well, I have Republicans who come to me on the floor and say, I wish I could vote with you today. Yours is the right vote, but I would just take too much flack back home. And I have Republicans who come to me and say, that's wrong what AIPAC is doing to you. Let me talk to my AIPAC person. By the way, everybody but me has an AIPAC person.
What does that mean, an AIPAC person?
It's like your babysitter, your AIPAC babysitter, who is always talking to you for AIPAC. They're probably a constituent in your district, but they are, firmly embedded in AIPAC. And
every member has something like this?
I don't know how it works on the Democrat side, but that's how it works on the Republican side. And when they come to DC, you go have lunch with them.
Jeez.
And they've got your cell number, and you have conversations with them. So I've had
that's absolutely crazy.
I've had 4 members of Congress say, I'll talk to my AIPAC person.
Jeez.
And it's literally what we call them, my AIPAC guy. I'll talk to my AIPAC guy and see if I can get him to, dial those ads back.
Why have I never heard this before?
It doesn't benefit anybody. Why would they want to tell their constituents that they've basically got a buddy system with somebody who's representing a foreign country?
Wow.
It doesn't benefit the congressman
running
for people
the
to know that,
show.
So they're not going to tell you that.
I think we all got this.
Yeah, we got it.
We got this.
Thanks, Cal.
And go ahead.
I was going to say, he says something in that clip later. He goes they make me do homework, or they tried to make me do homework, and I just didn't want to hand in my homework. They literally say, write on this worksheet why you love Israel so much. And he's like, I don't want to do that.
And he used a very interesting term. I thought it was representative. He used the term babysitter.
Mm-hmm.
What does a babysitter do? A babysitter watches over you when other people, your parents, are not able to. Those are people that are hired to come in and tell you what's best, watch over you, dictate what you do.
Make sure you don't do anything wrong.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
and he used it. That's very interesting that he used the term babysitter.
You guys listen to the clip. He said, one of the representatives, my AIPAC person won't let me go for that.
Yeah.
He won't let me do it, even though I know. By the way, did you hear what? Yeah, great point. He said, I know it's wrong and I should vote for this bill, but I can't because of them. So what the fuck? Israel has somebody babysitting each one of these Congress men and women to make sure what? And then Ben Shapiro, I remember going, hey, just to let you guys know, it's not a handler. It's like, shut up, you fucking dork.
And I don't play those games. Let's not make this about anti-Semitism in Israel.
That isn't.
Whatever.
No, it's not. It's about
dork is not anti-Semitic.
No. Ben Shapiro is a dork. Period. He plays the violin. I don't give a shit.
But Vinny, listen to me. Even if it was a Tex-Mex,
I don't want anybody. No, but this is a different country. No.
Yeah.
Tex-Mex is different. This is another country babysitting each congressman. That's going to influence their decisions of what's going to be good for America. No, it's going to be what's beneficial for Israel.
It doesn't even have to be a country. Like if it was the toy cartel, or if it was, I don't know,
anybody. But it makes it 10 times worse.
The
that it's
shoe
another
mafia. I don't know, whatever you name it. The pizza makers of America.
Yeah, no.
Like if I vote for a guy. Mm-hmm. He needs to vote what I voted for.
Yeah,
that's what we have a representative.
Well, you're going to be surprised.
Bullshit.
You're going to be surprised if you look into it, because they do have guys for all those too, unfortunately. But that's not how it should be. But we were talking before the show, just real quick, how the food in America sucks. There's so much chemicals in it compared to when you go to another country, and this is because all the industries have guys for congressmen. Maybe not as direct as Israel, where it's literally a babysitter per person with a phone, but yeah, lobbyists basically check up on congressmen and make sure that they don't pass stuff such as, no, you can't put fucking poison in the food. Otherwise we're gonna destroy your career.
Unbelievable.
So,
but Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, and I was gonna say, and it goes to show, and if we were to say, of course, whether it be Israel or take AIPAC out of it and put any country, that we are supposed to be a country governed for and by the people. If your handler or babysitter is affecting and implying what you can or cannot vote for, who's really running the country? Not the American people. And all condolences to Thomas Massie and that, because it's horrendous. But goes to show also, and I don't want to tailor to that, but he's one of, like you were saying, one of the only individuals that will actually say that. The fact that we don't even know that is horrendous, and it kind of makes me think when you think of how we should vote and all of those things. And it's kind of off topic but similar. Are when they vote for something, is it a page that you're voting on, or is it 1,000 pages?
Oh, it's thousands of pages.
And then they vote for it.
The bill, forget it. The bills are like this.
And it's like, so how do you even know what they're voting for? We don't even know what our representatives vote for, believe in, nothing. But really, how we're supposed to be governed is by the consent of the governed. Nothing that is voted on is by our consent.
No, it's by the consent of Israel.
Exactly.
Yeah,
or the other pacts. Am I the only one? Am I crazy?
No, I mean,
Sorry.
to make matters even worse, those.
Sorry, I don't know.
No, it's fucked.
It's fucking insane. I mean, to make matters even worse, those packets, those bills that are 1,000 pages
Communist
long,
bills.
a lot of those words aren't even written by members of Congress.
They don't even read them.
They're copy and pasted from think tanks in the periphery of D.C. So, like, there's the mall and there's the Capitol building. That's where everyone votes. But around the mall, there are dozens and dozens of offices that are think tanks, lobby firms, consulting firms. They are the ones who write up the text of these bills, and then they send them to the congressman's staffers. The staffers put them into a bill. The congressman eyes it over, is like, yeah, sure, put that on the floor. My guys are supporting that. And then that goes for the vote. Thomas Massie is one of the only guys who actually stops that whole time and is like, I'm just not going to vote on that.
Good.
I'm not going to, because he says in that interview, there's so many times where he just was the one guy that didn't vote for something and just pisses them off because it makes it an odd number and they hate that. And like Humberto said, this might not be like rest in peace to his wife. If she was actually possibly assassinated by somebody, it doesn't have to necessarily be Israel. It could be any one of these giant lobbies, but that is a powerful lobby.
When I get into that, I just pulled out his voting record. You can see it on screen. He has one of the cleanest voting records.
Nice.
And I need to bring this up because, I've worked in politics for a long time. And once I started this trend in South America, once I started looking at the voting records and putting real pressure on the guys and calling them out, like I will print the voting record. Yeah. I go like, whatever. I can't repeat it here because we're monetized. Yeah. You voted for this. And here you said that. And then I will do all these tweets. I'd be like, you've been, anti-abortion, your whole thing, your whole campaign, and you voted for it. So once you start tracking these people, vote by vote, and making a big deal about vote by vote, they will start reading those bills. And I'm going to need some help here because I don't remember the name of the guy. But, lobbying is
it's embedded in our politics.
No, it's how things go.
Of
course. Like if I sell shoes and I'm gonna get him wet. But one thing is like old school lobbying. That, hey, Vinny, if you vote for this, you have like $10 million for your campaign. Yeah. That's great. But last week, and Shane knows where we're going with this, they're doing the opposite. They did it to Massie. They started spending money against him.
Oh, wow. AIPAC?
Yeah. So instead of bribing, they're funding the opposition.
Wow.
They did that to him. They're doing that to Cori Bush. They did it to Jamal. They're doing it to all the squad members. And Jamal Bauman himself was he just lost to a pro-Israel guy.
Yeah.
And it was the most money that's ever been spent on a House primary race in America.
20 million, right?
20.4 million.
Jeez, I mean, the squad. I have no love for the squad because of the other bullshit. But I mean, that's kind of
what, like marrying your brother and then
marrying your brother and then Ilhan Omar the past week. Have you guys been seeing her? She's speaking in front of her constituents. It's all in Somalian, crazy. And they're like, "Fuck America." They're like, "This is all about Somalia." Yeah,
I know.
Then go back.
Right.
Then go the fuck back.
Why are you here? Why are you here?
Why do you come to this country and then try and turn this country into the shithole that you left? Remember when Trump called them shithole countries? They are. And go the fuck back there.
Yeah. It's very elaborate. It's like you walked 7,000 miles to go somewhere and say this place sucks.
Well, you know what they
into the place. Well, why didn't you just stay?
Yeah, but you know what it is? They want to suck everything out. Oh, fuck that. They want to ruin this.
And the thing is, okay, we cover the Epstein case, and some people, they jump straight to a conclusion that he's a Mossad agent. There's other agencies, he could be a CIA agent, but
he was Jewish too, so it does kind of help the situation.
I don't see enough evidence.
And Maxwell was.
I think it's...
So Ghislaine being Jewish, Epstein being Jewish.
Maxwell being a Mossad agent.
I'm sorry, she's a Mossad agent. She's not Jewish. She was French, right?
No, I think she's British and Jewish, and her father was a Mossad agent who was
okay. So her father's
mysteriously drowned, by the way.
So wait. So her father's was definitely Mossad agent. They're both Jewish. He's Jewish. I mean, is it that far-fetched to believe it?
No, it's not far-fetched, but I definitely think intelligence.
Yes.
But I don't think there's enough evidence to point at one of the agencies.
What you're trying to say is just that there's a lot of enemies Epstein could have made, and there's a lot of enemies Massie could have made.
I can give you a few examples.
How did you, and Alberto, not to cut you off, please.
Yeah,
please remember that. Sudden death. Was it any? Did they give us any autopsy cause of death? Meaning, blood clot. Was it a heart attack? Did she fall? Dying suddenly is not a great. And this was how many days ago? June
27th.
So 27th. Okay, I mean it's a week, but we still need more time.
Yeah, but there should be an autopsy by now, right?
What did she?
I think the family is grieving. Is the
I know,
which is I
which is respected. He had
I
He had the most beautiful family. His
feel
Christmas cards were the best.
High school sweetheart.
High school sweetheart. Like it's heartbreaking. Okay, and I still remember one of his Christmas cards. It's the whole family with
guns,
with AR. It's awesome. Overall, all around American. But talking about enemies and not pointing at one enemy in particular, because I want to be fair. 2023. Massie was the only Republican to vote against a resolution condemning the boycott, divestment sanctions against Russia. Then Massie was the only member of Congress to vote against the $2 trillion coronavirus relief package. So then you have two powerful enemies. You have the military-industrial complex, the only guy. You have the pharmaceutical, how do we call it? Big pharma. You have two enemies that are unknown.
Those are the two big ass ones. Yeah. Pharma, are you kidding me, bro? Those people have hitmen for sure.
Here, he rocked the boat a little bit. Massie was the only Republican to vote against the resolution condemning anti-Semitism. That was a big bill.
Yeah,
huge.
2018, Massie was the only Congress member to vote against the bill that provided $1.3 billion in aid to Ukraine. 2017, Massie was the only Republican to vote against the bill that has imposed sanctions on Russia. All right, so he has Russian enemies, Ukrainian enemies.
What nationality is Zelensky?
Come on.
Well, I'm just saying we were talking about ties to the Mossad.
Just because you don't like the connection of the dots, you still got to connect them. Well, come on, Umberto.
Right. Connect all the dots.
Umberto might be a freaking Mossad agent for all we know.
So what you're saying is Thomas Massie is the only American representative that votes solely based off America and our values and our principles.
Rob's laughing because he thinks so, right, Rob? You're laughing because Humberto might be a Chilean Mossad agent.
Well, the odds that our company continues to grow, the feds are they've infiltrated. Which one is the Fed?
Look at that hair. Look at his hair. Put the camera on him. Look at that hair. Look at that guy. That guy's a freaking agent. Go ahead.
They're on to me.
Did you hear this?
They're on to me. Pull the plug. You're going to hear about my handler outside.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
Babysitter's here.
But anyhow, just I'm just being fair here. Like, he had enough natural enemies for anything to happen. Maybe he's not related at all.
Maybe, but you never know.
And as you said, Taylor, like, he is literally a national treasure.
I love the guy.
We need more people like him. And if we have PACs, not only giving money to the wrong people, but giving money against the right people, like, we're never going to get decent people to represent us in Congress.
I agree.
So, like, my heart goes out to him, his family, and I think he's an example of what actual,
What's his wife's name?
His wife's name, Rhonda.
Rhonda. Well, God bless her. God rest her soul. And our prayers go out to Thomas and his whole entire family. And what were you gonna say, Taylor?
Well, 100% condolences. But I would say, where's our angry patriot? We need to fund that. For people like Thomas Massie.
Oh, I'm pissed off. I'm very pissed off.
What I worry about this story is that people will lose courage because of this to stand up because they're like, I don't want my loved ones to be killed. Yeah. But Taylor, you were saying something before.
Jordan Peterson. It's like, who are you? Yeah, who are you more afraid of? And he made a great point. Are you more afraid of your enemies or God?
Right. So it's like somebody said that he was brave, and he's like, no, I'm not brave. I'm just more afraid of a different group. You're afraid of the cancel culture of things that happen in this world. I'm afraid of what's going to happen after.
And just to clarify, we're not saying anybody did anything, but it is kind of suspicious that the one guy that is pointing out that Israel has a babysitter for every single one of these people in Congress, every one of them talks about it, and then his wife dies suddenly. Come on. It is kind of a coincidence. But anyway, all right, Umberto.
That's why we're starting the Angry Patriot Super PAC.
Yeah, that's a super PAC.
It's going to be GTFO.
I'm going to be angry the whole time. But Umberto, great freaking story. Last but not least, Taylor. Is it just the Pride, or is it San Francisco? Mm-hmm. The Pride. I know for a lot of you guys are. Rob was crying.
I just got back from a Pride parade.
Rob was just back from parade. He's wearing G-strings on top of a bus, dancing and crowd surfing. So, Taylor, would you?
I thought I saw you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So hide your children. You know, when it comes to San Francisco, they confirm that nudity is okay in front of children as long as there is no gratification, which is disturbing in its own right. And when we're going to show a video with you here, Kelly, if you could pull up the video from the gentleman asking the police, we'll play that first.
Okay. This is in San Francisco Pride?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a news reporter. Okay. So obviously there's a lot of nudity around here, men, women, transsexual stuff going on. And there's kids, wandering around the event. I'm not sure on San Francisco's laws or California's laws. Is it legal for nudity to be presented in front of kids?
Nudity is legal, yeah, within certain boundaries.
What are the boundaries, do you know?
Coupled with a lewd act. Yeah, anything coupled with a lewd act or anything being done for sexual gratification that involves other people. Basically.
Okay, but this event wouldn't be considered for sexual gratification.
No, if they're walking around and it's out, that's right. That'd be different than if they're masturbating or if they're forcing, like flashing people. Right?
She's full of shit. She's full of shit.
But even with kids, it's fine to be nude as long as there's no masturbation or anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, you know why she's full of shit, Taylor? I saw grown men urinating and giving each other blowjobs on the street in a kiddie pool. So she's full of complete shit. And mind you, all three of those girls look like they're in the LGBTQAI plus community. So protecting their own.
I don't even care if they're, peeing or giving blowjobs or if they're just naked. You're naked in front of children. That's abhorrent. And I've been to one. I've gone to Pride parades in the past, and I observed one when I was in D.C. I was just walking through, and the atrocity of what goes on, I literally just feel like it's an excuse for people to be degenerates.
When did you go?
I was in D.C. during the Palestine and the Pride parade. Literally,
so
that
this year.
Yeah, like
okay.
3 weeks ago.
So I worked for a radio guy in Tampa. His name was Bubba the Love Sponge. If you look him up, he filmed Hulk Hogan having sex with his wife. Weird story. Doesn't tie
weird
at all. But he wanted to be very inclusive, and this was pre the movement.
Yeah.
Where like a Pride. So 2016, we went to a Pride parade. We had a float in the Pride parade. We were throwing out beads at the Pride parade. I didn't see a single tit. I didn't see a testicle. I didn't see a penis. It was literally, we went as like a joke because we were filming it. We're like, oh, it's a celebration of love. Maybe we'll see gay guys like making out, thinking it was funny. None of that.
Wow.
It was just people celebrating a parade.
What year?
2016 or 17. I don't remember the exact. But so you're talking about 7 years ago. So it's degraded. Because back then it was, because we had gay listeners and we'd bring the gay listeners on the Pride float. We thought it was fun. And we thought, hey, we'll see boobs. That's why we went. We were excited. There was no boobs. There was no tits. There was no ass. It has changed so dramatically from being an actual event where you're just celebrating and having a parade for gay people to this sex fest, orgy fest, where people are inserting dildos and urinating on people in pools.
Yeah.
It's escalated to that point because when I went the first time, I think it was 2016, 2017, and there was still, it's just an excuse for people to get drunk, wasted, drugs. It's all of that. And just to go back to the video there, and Patrick made a good point the other day of we have Mother's Day, we have Father's Day, but we have Pride Month. And like I said, I think it's just an excuse to be degenerate. But what I want to ask all of you guys, I think it's fair to judge a country on how they care for the most vulnerable. In our case, or in human case, which would be children. So on that case, the fact that nudity is okay in front of children, how are we doing as a country when it comes to being judged on the most vulnerable around us?
Go ahead, Shane.
I mean, why does it need to happen? That's my question. And you can blame the parents or whatever, but it's like, why did they need to be naked, first of all? what the hell does this have to do with gaining rights anymore? This is like it's like an army celebrating victory by constantly marching through the streets, you know? Like when this whole movement started, it was like we need to gain certain rights, we need to not be chased out of society. This has nothing to do with that. And instead it's this kind of like constant reaffirmation of their victory over the culture. And when you have like that, you know, cultures change over time, but you can't sustain a culture that just completely mocks the family unit. Sorry, but like the heterosexual family unit is the only thing that prevents society from falling into complete disarray. Now, I understand there are people always on the margins who don't fall into that category of a heterosexual family unit. Fine, but that's like saying like, well, you know, I personally don't eat meat, so everyone else who eats meat, I don't really care if they lose access to meat, like Karine Jean-Pierre, where she's like, well, they were asking her about the prices of food. She goes, well, I don't really eat meat, so I don't care. Yeah, it's like, okay, dumb bitch. Okay, bitch, but 80%, 90% of the fucking country eats meat, so you should fucking care, especially because you work for the president.
Yeah.
Same thing where it's like, all right, you may not be in a heterosexual family unit, but guess how humans are made? Guess how humans grow up?
Male, female sex.
Grow up to not kill and steal by having a father figure. Guess how they learn emotional empathy from a mother. Like, you need that. Sorry. Yeah. And if your whole thing is that you just are constantly mocking that in these parades, then I think it's clear to say that you don't care about the country or its future.
And let me explain something to you. If I was the president of the United States, Pride Month is fucking canceled, and I'm putting it into law. I don't give a blanket law. Fuck the states. If you are butt naked, your tits, your dick, anything is exposed in the street, you are going to jail. And if there's kids present, you're going to be charged accordingly. And the parents, you're going to be charged, and your kid's going to get taken away. Enough is enough. I'm sick and tired of them letting it happen. And all we go is go, nah, but come on, it's all good. They shouldn't bring them. No. There needs to be consequences for every single one of these things, just like pedophilia. Just like if you're, guys, you know why they keep doing it? Okay, they go to jail. They'll do 2 years. They'll do 3 years. Then they get released. No, death penalty. If you have sexually molested or raped a child, you're going to jail? No. Execute these motherfuckers. And guess what? I'm telling you right now, we're going to still have pedophiles, but they're going to slow down exponentially. Every single day on X, I'm seeing another video of vigilantes taking it into their own hands, creating fake accounts, and catching underage kids to try to hook up with them. And then in some places, you know what the cops are saying? Well, it wasn't an actual kid or a cop, so we have to let them go.
It's a few things. I don't know about the death penalty because I wouldn't give the power to the government because I just don't trust them to have the ability for the death penalty. But I understand what you're saying. But on the other terms, you have Jeffrey Epstein where they'll actually just let him go. But two things on the Pride Parade. They're like, why would they bring the children? It's literally in the middle of the city. I was going to the museum in D.C. and I had to cross the Pride Parade to get there. You can't avoid it. So like you literally can't avoid it. But also to the parents that are bringing them, why are you bringing your children to the Pride Parade? Yeah. I really don't.
You know why? Because go ahead, Rob.
Does anybody here besides me have kids? No. Okay. Parades are awesome. They really are. For kids, there's so much. My son, when we lived in Cleveland, Ohio, there was nothing to do. We lived in Cleveland. There was nothing. The only thing to do was go to parades. So we'd go to every parade every weekend. If anybody pulled out a tit, I would never take my child there. Yeah. I have a 5-year-old. There's no reason why I would take him to a parade where there's people even dressed provocatively to the point where it's bikinis and like the dog collars. Like there's no reason for that at all.
No.
The thing is, they're not even celebrating Pride anymore. When you go there, there's weed, there's alcohol, they're a belligerent, they're naked. It's like they're not celebrating the freedom of sexuality. They're literally just being degenerates. And what they're doing, bringing children, and the fact that it's okay, it is desensitizing children at a very young age that sexuality is okay, being naked, doing whatever you may be. You said the guy was doing
He was urinating in somebody's mouth, and there's people were everywhere. Kids were walking by.
And the thing is, those kids will never get that innocence back.
Period.
When they lose it, like I remember if there's anybody that's listening that's under the age of 18, tune out for a second. When my son found out that Santa wasn't real, it hurt as a parent because I realized, oh my God, my little boy's growing up. Yeah. He found out about it on the bus from other kids. when you watch children lose their innocence, it becomes very hard.
Yeah.
What I love about my 5-year-old is that he is innocent. I would never try and take that away intentionally.
Yeah.
My 14-year-old, he's a little bit more mature. We can have conversation. We joke around about like our favorite pastimes, watching 9/11 videos. He's very interested in the news. Pat talks about once you start reading a book, you can never go back. Remember, he tells the story of the guy that goes over and watches the same Bernie Mac clips at his house when he was a kid. Yeah. And Pat's dad said, enjoy that innocence. That guy has that innocence. Yeah. But once you open those books and you start reading, your mind goes somewhere else and it can never go back. Stop depriving these children of their innocence. Let them be kids. Stop harping in schools about LGBTQ. Let them discover that shit on themselves, like we did when we were 13, and we realized, hey, how come Timmy's never had a girlfriend?
Yeah,
that's weird. Yeah. Right, Timmy? What's going on? Do you not like girls, Timmy? Yeah. Are you gay, Timmy? What? No, I'm not gay. Okay. And then 10 years later, Timmy comes out as gay. Okay. But that's how we discovered it. Now it's like it's in their face at school. It's in their face on the internet. It's in their face when they go to a parade, or even just driving through, or going to a Panera Bread, and all of a sudden a bunch of trannies on bicycles naked or riding by in the street.
You can't escape it. Like literally in D.C., they had pride parades on the Capitol, like on like these monuments. They had it on churches. You can't
churches wrapped in trans flags. I remember when that started happening.
George Washington's church had everyone welcome pride flag on top of it, and I'm like,
all right.
And before you talk, I just want to reiterate because I didn't want it lost in translation, or because I know we were kind of everywhere. I believe this is my idea. No Pride Month. You guys could get a day like everybody else. No 147 days. Yeah. And I'm going to say this again. If you are a pedophile and you rape or molest an underage kid, I would make it a law that you're going to get the death penalty. There's no leeway. That's no consequence of my dick. Everybody's going to know, holy shit, I better not do this or I'm going to die, because everything else isn't working. Nothing's working, okay? So I just want to make sure everybody knows that. Yes, pedophiles, all of them should die. You cannot cure that person. End of story. Go ahead.
This is going to get loud. This is going to get loud.
Yeah, go.
Okay, first of all, I will take a bullet for Steve to date John, because it's American. It's a fucking free country. That said,
yes,
this is fucking communism, and it's always been communism. The whole queer movement is a bunch of French degenerates. Because when the Russians, did the October Revolution, there's one tie they couldn't break. That's a family. That's a nuclear family. Yep. They did encourage kids to tell on their parents for their parents to be loyal to the Communist Party.
Yes.
Because the government, the state is everything. Yeah. And this movement is different to gay people, is different to trans people, is different to lesbians.
It's all different.
Those are good people, most of them God-fearing, and they're having their own life and doing their own things. Another thing is the LGBTQ movement. That's a different thing.
Yes.
These people, I will go to war for them.
Oh, 1,000%.
Every single one of them, I support their right to be free, and I will go to war for them. But the LGBTQ movement is a communist collective. Like the class struggle that is the driving force of the Communist Party has been slipping, because we live in a credit card society. Everyone, even though the middle class is being destroyed by inflation, everyone has the same means, some kind of roof over their head, food every day. So it's a lot harder for them. And they've been driving people away from the class struggle, because we know we have a 1% class that do whatever the fuck they want.
Yep.
And they keep us busy fighting over if you eat meat, if you date guys, if you don't date guys, if you're black, if you're tall, if you're short. And I'm not playing this game. I told last time that one of my favorite people in the whole world was my gay uncle that lived in California.
You told me that guy had to take a boat.
We used to go there every summer. I had the most beautiful memories with him. Everything child appropriate. We'll go walk in the park. He never took me to not even to the gay neighborhood of California. He will take me shopping and eat ice cream. And he had a gay dog named Sunshine. It was a beautiful memory.
Of course he did.
Very God-fearing guy. A partner for 30 years. I believe he can have that lifestyle. This is America.
Yeah.
But on the positive side, and the future looks bright, Vinny, we're slowly winning, Vinny. People undermine how big the Bud Light thing was. That was probably one of the biggest wins in the last 10 years for the conservative movement, because enough is enough.
Yeah.
This fucking bullshit, cowardly boomers that are the worst generation that ever lived.
Yep.
The worst generation that ever lived. They all cowardly. They wouldn't know what politics is, even if they kicked them on the head. They were so scared because their gay intern was like, we should put the rainbow there.
Yeah.
And they went against. And once people realize this is politics, this is straight politics. This is collectivism, and this is politics. It has nothing to do with gay people. This year, 10 teams in the NFL did not bow down to the LGBT movement.
Good for them.
And this is only getting bigger, and it's only getting rolling. Nothing against any type of gay people, queer, whatever. Live your life, live your truth. If 5 guys, they want to date each other,
go for it.
Raise organic pigs in the middle of
just keep your dick out of the street.
Just go do it and support it.
And can I just relate a story where...
Well, hurry up, because Kelly's flashing us.
Yeah, just 1 minute. So, like...
Kelly,
no, you know what I mean.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
So just, not that long ago in American history, like, say, the 40s or 50s, you couldn't walk down the street with too revealing of an outfit.
Yes.
In a small town, a cop would, literally, my great aunt told me a story where she was wearing too revealing of an outfit, and a cop who was her friend's older brother literally kicked her off the street and was like, get the hell back inside.
Good.
So we wonder why people, there's just people are cheating on their wives, and there's so much temptations in society. A little modesty would go a long way, and that goes for everybody, not just the Pride Parade. But
I agree.
Say it.
Amen.
Bring shame back. No more pride, more shame.
Yeah.
This society needs shame. Shame on
We
all
can bring
of you.
Cersei from
Shame on
But
you.
the future
Shame.
might
Shame. Bring
Shame.
yes.
Oh, I love it. All right, guys. That being said, guys, every single one of you, amazing stories. Literally, this is one of my favorite shows that we've had so far. Great topics, great emotions. And yeah, guys, if you haven't subscribed already at home, 60% of you don't follow us. Come on, please. Click the subscribe. They hate us. They hate us. They hate your Mossad hair.
I
Hit
know.
your Mossad hair. But yeah, guys, hit the notification bell. To Kelly and everybody behind the scenes, I love you guys. Guys, please take care of each other. Love each other. It's them against us, but we're going to win at the end. Peace and love. I'll see you guys later.